What's the deal, everybody? Now, as a kid growing up, some images just burn themselves into your memory and they refuse to leave. And this is one of those stories. You remember the saturation and you remember the media explosion. I still remember seeing Tupac on screen in front of that portrait of a kid whose face looked far too young for the nightmare surrounding him. This story's always touched my soul and touched my heart, and this really bothers me what I'm getting ready to tell you now. Yummy was a very impressionable child who was just trying to survive and find his way. He just needed love and guidance, and he went to the streets for that. When the autopsy was done, they had to document all his wounds on 2 diagrams because they wouldn't all fit on one picture. He had cigarette burns, cuts, and wounds all over him from abuse. Now, at the end of the day, this was a lost child that deserves more than he got. And it blows my mind that he has no headstone after 32 years. So let's make that happen. So late on the night of August 31st, 1994 in Chicago, an 11-year-old boy named Robert Sandifer, a kid the world only knew as Yummy, was led to a dark, secluded railroad underpass at East 108th Street, and he was executed and shot twice in the head by his own gang. Now, he didn't know he was walking into his own grave. So to understand Yummy, you have to look at the tragic domino effect that shook the city to its core. Because just days earlier, on August 28, 1994, Yummy, who was just standing 4'6", and he was named Yummy because of his insatiable love for cookies and junk food. He loved chocolate chip cookies. He was ordered by his gang, the Black Disciples, to open fire on a rival group in Chicago's Roseland neighborhood. Now, during that chaos, a stray bullet struck and killed 14-year-old Siobhan Dean, who was an innocent bystander. Now, there's been stories that said Yummy wasn't the shooter. There were stories that said he was the shooter. But rest in peace to Siobhan, and my heart goes out to her family and everybody involved in this. But regardless, suddenly an 11-year-old child was the target of an intensive nationwide police manhunt. But Yummy wasn't hunted by the cops just to be arrested, fearing he would talk, fearing he would become a snitch and expose the gang's adult leadership. His own people decided to silence him permanently. They used 2 teenage brothers who were gang members themselves and part of Yummy's gang, the Hardaway brothers. The Hardaway brothers found a terrified, crying Yummy and promised to help him and help him sneak out of the city. And they drove him to that underpass. The brothers then pulled the trigger, firing 2 bullets into the back of an 11-year-old's head. And they just left him right there. The Hardaway brothers were eventually caught, tried, and they were handed massive sentences. One of them got 60 years and the other one got 45. But they've since served their time and they've walked free, and they actually got interviews going on around now. And in that interview is what they said when they said that Yummy wasn't the trigger man. So I don't know how that happened. I just know that 2 children are dead. The Nation reeled. Time magazine put Yummy's face on the cover, sparking fierce national debates about youth violence, urban poverty, and a broken foster care and social safety net that had already failed him through more than 20 prior arrests before he even hit high school. They said he'd been arrested over and over again. This has always touched my heart because I think of what would have been had he had a real chance. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I had found out years later, and this always bugged me, that he had no headstone. And I have been obsessed about one day either making that happen or helping that happen or simply just sparking the brain that does it and just seeing it happen in my lifetime. I've always thought that he deserved one. And we've read the books. We've watched the documentaries. We've analyzed the statistics, the systemic failures, and the street politics. 32 years have passed since the night Yummy died. And yet, after all the biographies, all the stories and pieces, all the national outrage, nobody to this day has ever given Yummy Sandifer a headstone. Now, just think about that. A human being and a child, nonetheless, swallowed whole by the streets of Chicago. He never had a chance, left to lie in an unmarked or neglected resting place like he never even mattered. How is the city of Chicago, how has anyone let that stand for over 3 decades? And we can point fingers at the system, but the system isn't just the institutions. We carry the memory, but we left the grave bare. Now, I don't know if his family's still around, if anybody in his family, anybody connected to the cemetery, anybody in Chicago, anybody watching this right now knows how we can legally and respectfully clear the path to arrange a proper headstone for Yummy. Let's do it. You know, it's time to stop talking about the tragedy and finish the story with a shred of human dignity and finally lay him to rest properly. And all the violence, everything that surrounded this story was just all nonsense. And Siobhan and Yummy and children lost their lives. Let's connect, figure this thing out, and finally give this kid the marker he deserved for over 32 years. But I'm Mack Malone, the KC journalist, signing out. Let's make this right, guys. I'd love to see it happen, even if I have nothing to do with it. I want to see it happen. Love y'all. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Let's go. Mack Malone, he's your KC journalist. Mack Malone, he's your KC journalist. Mack Malone, he's your KC journalist. Y'all can get the best from that KC journalist.
Let's go.